Welcome back to the Castoff. We just interviewed all 4 of our finalists on their experience back at Columbus. Now, though, we're getting down to the tough part. The judges, we got our notes ready, and we're ready to go through our 4 finalists. First gameplay. Ben, go ahead and talk to us about what we're going to be grading these guys on.
So, we sat down in Columbus, and we kind of had a big conversation about what we look for in a caster, and we came up with 3 key components. One was presence, that's on camera, composure, your flow, and how you work in a team. Because ultimately, that's what casting is. You need to work in a team. It isn't me versus you. It's we're trying to put on the best show we possibly can. As well as that accuracy. That's game knowledge, minimal errors, proper call-outs, and team player identification. We saw some slip-ups in the submissions and whatnot, so we wanted to make sure that was clear. And as well, tone. Your pacing, energy at the correct times, and can you tell the story of the game and also the series, more importantly.
Absolutely. One other thing that I kind of keep in consideration when we were going through this was who is doing the driving and play-by-play,
Yes.
and who has the easier job of kind of sitting back, waiting for those holes and to fill. So that's going to go into my decision-making overall. Not really something that you can grade on, but something that you can highlight when they're able to multitask well. So let's start things off with our first contestant. You met Dirk, Jamie Ruiz, earlier. Here's a look at his feelings heading in to the first cast.
I'm ready for Saturday. Should be a good day. Going to be casting with Benson today, actually. So I'm looking forward to that. Bit nervous, but just another caster. No, Benson's a great guy, but can't be rattled by it. It's just another experience, and it's going to be a good one to write down on the notepad and just take it all in, get some advice from him as well at the end. So that's how I'm feeling right now.
Welcome back to the Call of Duty North American Championship 2015, presented by Xbox. Benson back in the booth. And our final, the cast-off contestant, we've got Dirk up here with me today. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. A little nervous, but it's been an okay day of casting.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying the event.
Yeah, how's the event going as a whole for you?
I've really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Being able to meet the players, which usually I'm used to seeing in a little screen, everything like that. It's been really cool to see the actual environment and what goes down behind the scenes and all that stuff. So I've been really enjoying it.
Of course, up next, FaZe Black versus TR. Let's actually take a look at that FaZe Black squad. I've been really impressed with what I've seen from these guys, especially at the first event, MLG Columbus 2011. His role, the X factor of this team. If he goes off, you can expect big things from this FaZe Black squad. A 27.48 average Slayer rating as well. Honestly, look out for him in this series. I think he's going to be a key part.
Yeah, next player is going to be Proofy, a player who needs no introduction. First tournament, MLG Nationals 2009, one of the veterans in this community. Really, uplinks per game, 1.25. That is something that we're going to look out for.
Yeah, definitely. Of course, he's going to go on a bit of a cruise tomorrow. So today, the last day, you'll really see FaZe Black advance to the tournament. Study the next player on this FaZe Black squad. Absolutely phenomenal plays from him all throughout this tournament so far. Average 26.98 is a slaying category. Respawn KD of 0.97 as well. But when he gets hyped, there's no one like him.
The Mr. Doug Martin, Censor. MLG Dallas first tournament. And look for him, the uplinks per game, maybe the OBJ player of this squad. 2 uplinks per game, 22 Slayer rating, 8% First Blood rating.
Definitely going to be the player to look out for on the FaZe Black squad. Biolab Hardpoint about to get underway. Dirk, who do you want to spectate first in this one?
We have to show some love to Nagafin.
Nagafin? You're a Nagafin fan, huh?
I am. He impressed me.
Okay.
He really did. So that's who I want to start this game off with right here. And obviously, Hardpoint Biolab, this is what you really want to go for. That first hill, if you can get it good enough, it's going to give you about 30 to 35 seconds on that. Second hill, not so much. But that third hill, that's going to be one of the big hills of this map.
Yeah, one of those money hills for sure. As FaZe Black actually with the favorable spawn to kick things off here on Biolab Hardpoint. We can early control the hill. Nice plays coming from them.
They're doing an excellent job staying on board with Remy right now. Going to be inside the hill with the ASM-1. Able to pick up another kill there on a 4 streak to start off this one. So 4-0. We're not even past the first minute of this game yet. Still continuing his tear inside of the Hardpoint. Excellent job by them so far. Facento is going to go down. And just like that, FaZe Black has control.
And FaZe should be able to get some control. I think they were a little bit caught off guard, though, by that very quick TR play at the start.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Censor inside the hardware. We brought up his OBJ player, but he's not going to be running any trophy system. That is something I just noticed, and I'm kind of surprised by that. But he does have the flak jacket on, so it kind of makes up for it. Very, very nice job by Remy there, being able to take out the player that was in the back snow, kind of having that whole thing on lock. And that is kind of what started this little collapse here by FaZe Black. And just like that, they have control of this hill. Remy and Facento, again, going to be inside. Facento off to a 1-6 start so far.
You mentioned that third hardpoint, Dirk, being so important. That kind of money hill, if you will. What time roughly do you think players should start rotating towards that?
Maybe around that, probably like around 15, 20 seconds around that mark, I would say. And that blue hill is one of those more closely contested ones. There's not going to be a whole lot of places that you can really just jump in. So if you position a player up on those boxes, kind of by where the player is up there right now, I believe that was actually going to be studied. Where he is, that head glitch is so nasty, it's going to be so hard to take him off of that. Sensor, going to be the player inside of the hard point right now, just making sure not to contest any silly gunfights, just getting on top of these boxes like I said to do. Now, the spot where Senso's at, if he goes to that right side door, kind of away from where Sensor is, there's a nice little spot there where your easy positioning, you're going to be able to. That's the best spot to take out that player on that head glitch. I'm not sure if many people know about it, but that's definitely the place to go to.
FaZe Black, as you see, they do have a little bit of a dominating lead, 94-34, and growing as well, though.
Like we said, if you get a good setup on this, you're going to be able to control it for a majority of the time, and that is exactly what FaZe Black did. Going to break the 100-point mark with this hill. Now we're going to be going over to this green plat hill. Don't look for a team to really control this one all that much. More of a 50-50, really scrappy hill out in the open. We highlighted Nagafin, and right now 11-21. Not really what you want to see. Maybe if it was an OBJ player and had some captures to kind of equal out with it, it would make a lot of sense, but he really needs to step it up if this team wants a chance of coming back.
3 players on the hill. Is that something you would agree with or no?
I mean, sometimes I actually have seen that. Get 3 players on the hill, just kind of guarantee the control, kind of have them in the corners, kind of looking at the entrances as well, just able to lock that down. So it's kind of a weird strategy to see, but it's pretty common with some teams. And Sensor with a 3-piece on the canister bombs.
That's going to extend his streak to 5. FaZe break the hill once again. 7 seconds left before the hard point's going to rotate.
By just being able to control those spawns, making FaZe Black spawn all the way out in that corner building by the snow, that is exactly what you want from that hill. Now let's see if they can carry over to the second hill. Like you said, a score 159 to 121. Aqua is going to be inside of the hard point right now. 6 captures to his name, 21 and 19, currently on a 2-kill streak, doing some work. It's like we said, such a big hill, and Aqua is in really the power position for this hill right now. He is going to be running that trophy system, so that's going to be good, but he's not going to put it on. But just like that, we see FaZe Black all flooding into the hill, and they are able to break that. Team Revenge played it really good early on the rotation.
Oh my goodness, Remy!
Oh my goodness.
Oh, Remy! Oh, he just single-handedly broke that hard point. That was absolutely phenomenal play. Keeps TR's hopes alive there, because if FaZe lock down this blue hill, Dirk, that's pretty much game over.
Yeah, I mean, Team Revenge first on those rotations. FaZe Black able to break it. Then Remy single-handedly going there, taking out the FaZe Black team. And something I've been noticing Sensor's been doing, he's really just been using that exo jump to his ability, just jumping up and down. I know how frustrating it could be for players, really having to keep up with that all the time and trying to aim that down. But Sensor really doing everything he needs to, getting inside that hard point, also getting a lot of kills. Hit drop the 40 bomb now, 201 to 195 as we approach that 1-minute mark. Yeah, definitely this is going to be coming down right to the wire. 204 to 203. Hill has been contested for around 15 seconds now. Let's see what's going to be able to happen. Remy, Aqua for Sentinel on the hard point. Proofy doing his best to just be a nuisance inside. Is going to get taken out. Now TR does have control. They're literally just going back and forth with this. Yeah, definitely. Right there. Study threw in that nade. Took out his own teammate. Took out a player. Then got a kill with the gun, the ASM-1 as well. Nice 2-piece by him. Able to clear that hard point off. 218 to 205. And that was
an insane hit. One of the closest I've seen on a hardpoint biolab. So going into S&D, you said TR was going to win it? Mm-hmm. Still confident about that?
I always have faith in the TR boys.
Always got faith. Always got faith. Well, for now, guys, quick commercial break. And when we return, we'll be jumping into that Sentinel story.
All right, so that was our first look at our finalist, Dirk, up there next to Benson. Ben, let's get it from your perspective first before we jump into Matt and my notes from that game alone. What was it like casting with Dirk, and what was it like in the moments before you even went live?
So the immediate thing was trying to calm him down. You could tell he was nervous. Not too nervous, but you know, you're going up on Alpha, you've been casting on Bravo, it's going to be a big deal. I remember my first time on the Alpha stage of MLG, I was pooping myself, that's for sure. So trying to calm him down, not literally.
I didn't smell it at all, yeah.
Good, I'm glad. But trying to calm him down, I think it worked a little bit, because you saw straight off the bat, kind of had a little bit of banter back and forth. I think that's always important. You want to kind of show that to the viewers at least. He was really good at taking prompts on the screen, though. That's something which I think he actually did the best out of any of the contestants that I've seen so far. I.e., when a card comes up on the scrone, you kind of talk about the card. It doesn't really make sense to be going off on a tangent talking about other things when we're looking at Proof B stats and how is that going to affect the game coming up. One thing he did mess up on, Doug Martin Sensor. Yeah, but you can't really hold that. Obviously, you say Doug Sensor Martin, you tend to say the game attacks the middle, but
didn't bug me too much.
Doesn't bug me that much
Yeah, I was going to say on the graphic, if you're watching it from left to right,
yeah,
it makes sense.
One thing, though, really, really good job at flicking through on the other Xbox. I was driving for the first game, as we all decided we were going to drive the first game. Immediately, as soon as I went into that game, he had something to say. So as soon as I stopped talking, he was like, all right, well, I can tell you, you know, Sensor's not using a trophy system. That would be good. Objective-based play, you expect to see it in a game like Hardpoint. One thing he did pretty bad, though, and I would actually be curious to maybe if we speak to him later on, get his opinion on this. When he was trying to explain certain positions on the map, he would be saying, oh, there's a really good spot. But the way he would describe the spot, he would use spot again. So he'd be like, oh, there's a really good spot over by that spot, over there by the spot. And it's like, well...
You're not really giving me
accurate
directions.
Are you talking about purple window head glitch? What are we, like, where am I supposed to be? Like, it's very hard for me to understand what he was trying to talk about, because obviously when you're driving, you try and follow what the other player, like if you're saying, oh yeah, purple window, I'm going to try and flick over to the person who's in purple window. That's just how it kind of works. Great knowledge of rotations, nailed it. Didn't really make any stupid game knowledge mistakes, so I was kind of impressed with that. One thing I did want to see him do was play-by-play. I was excited to see him do play-by-play, and at one point I remember during that first game, obviously we kind of cut most of my voice, but it was analysis on analysis on analysis on analysis on analysis. So it'd be like, if me and Matt just did analysis overall, people get bored of that. If we were breaking down every single thing, you want to see some play-by-play. You finally got it towards the end.
Yeah.
But even then...
You had to. It was so close.
Right. For the last 30 seconds, it kind of cuts off, but he kind of lost it a little bit. He started off so well. Lost it a little bit, recovered really, really well towards the end. But the one thing was the Remy play. Remy goes on a 7 streak.
I had that too.
And it's like...
and it's like you didn't even see it happen.
The guy just single-handedly three-pieced it.
Don't talk to me about the team that just lost control when it's being regained right now.
Tell me about the guy that just made a top 5 play of the weekend.
I mean, that was a phenomenal play. I'm surprised people didn't remember that play. Actually, when we were talking about top 5s.
There was too many.
There really was.
Yeah.
That was all my feedback, but I'm curious to find out what you two... Obviously, it's different when you're actually casting with someone as opposed to anything else. I'll start with you, Chris. What was your immediate feedback list?
So I immediately went to presence on camera. Kind of looked, like you said, a little bit nervous, kind of sitting back in his chair as opposed to commanding. You just want to get up there and you just want to, I own this. This is my house. Welcome to my house. We're going to watch stuff on my big screen. 22 Slayer rating. Can't really knock him too much as he was going through the cards, but I noticed, just slight flub on that, but pretty smooth through the cards. So I thought he did a really good job because we didn't tell these guys until they sat down. We kind of purposely sat together and we were like, all right, how is this going to go? Brian, you conduct the show just as if it was Matt or Ben in the chair next to me. Don't give them any extra heads up because obviously they've watched enough tournaments to know how this is going to really go down before the matchup.
Especially big games like that.
Handled it really well. A lot of people would kind of freeze, or you'll see in a few of our others that they don't really keep up with the cards. But like you said, I think he did a really good job of paying attention to what's on the program out monitor and talking to that. His voice, he did a lot of analysis, but there wasn't a whole lot of energy. I felt like when he would go on the long analysis or really breaking something down in depth, I kind of just got zoned out of the game, and I don't know if it's just my ADD or if other people at home were feeling the same thing. I think even when you're doing analysis, you got to put some more inflection on those key moments. He seemed much, much more confident and comfortable, though. We watched all kinds of games earlier today leading up to this cast. I thought this was his best cast when he got paired up with you, and I think a lot of that is because he wasn't driving. He was able to focus on one thing purely, and that was kind of that analytical position. I know you wanted to see more play-by-play, but if you listened back to it, I thought you were kind of driving the play-by-play through there, so I don't think it was a bad role.
That's only because you didn't really see me cast that much. As I said, there was moments where I would just do analysis, and then he would do analysis, and I would do analysis. And it was like a battle for analysis, and that's kind of the key. Like, if I'm casting with you and I'm trying to break down something...
Did you purposely try and throw him into that?
Oh,
okay.
Yeah, 100%. That was the whole role. I wanted to see a little bit of play-by-play. Finally, towards the end, we got there. What was interesting, though, was Game 3, when he actually started to drive, he felt a lot more comfortable with the play-by-play. But just strictly going off that Game 1, in the key moments of the game where play-by-play was important, didn't really get to see too much of it.
Final note before I throw it over to you, Matt. He was talking about the trophy system. I love that you purposely flicked through to show the perks, and instantly he picked up on Flak Jacket. If he kept talking about trophies and was going on and on, huge red flag warning, but he picked up on it instantly, saved himself, and was able to keep it going.
No, I had all the same stuff as you. There was a spree where he used kinda in the middle hill 4 or 5 times, real fast. Just kind of stood out to me. And then 2 other things that kind of stood out to me a little bit is
kinda.
When you asked...
It happens.
Yeah, no, it does. Yeah. When he talked about Nagafen at the beginning, and you're like, who do you want to jump on board with ever? And he's like, Nagafen really impressed me. When and why and how does this kind of go with the story of the match? And I think even after the match, still you ask him for his prediction if he's going to stick with TR, and it's just like, yes. Well, set up the next game. Talk to us about why you think TR is going to be, have a chance in this series.
I do like that he didn't go with the fan favorite. It's so easy to know Twitter would prefer me to say FaZe Black than this team that no one really follows or gives enough attention to in TR. So props to kind of have his own opinion and stick with it, but I see where you're coming from on that.
It helps tell the story of the match. Get somebody invested in, okay, TR really does have a chance in this match. Let me stay tuned and watch.
All right, so I think that's our initial round of feedback. I have a score written down, and I'm sure we'll compare all of our scores after this first round. But coming up next, guys, we're going to be joined by Gizmo. Gizmo's going to give his thoughts going into his first Alpha Cast, as well as we'll take a look at his calls on Hardpoint.